To the bottom right of the map, we have a very, very sneaky player. Starting.
The bottom right he is.
LGIM YongHwa.
He's very sneaky.
You know actually why I said sneaky?
I know why, because you thought that we came into the game and he was sending his first probe, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because I had that for a split second as well, because we came into the game a little bit late. I thought it was a proxy for just a split second.
Top left, we have for his team FXO.
FXO Leenock.
A player who also from time to time likes to do sneaky things.
Exactly. So guys, if you didn't catch that, I'm going to explain this for you again. Sometimes we start the game a little bit earlier, we jump into the game a little bit later, and if you then only watch at the screen, and while we have those introductions, we don't really have all the numbers on the tab, so you just see one of those probes heading out. I really thought for a second that YongHwa was going for a proxy, and I'm like, oh my god, against Zerg on this map? How? And then I looked at the numbers, and Wolf did it at the same time, saved me here, and I'm like, all right, we jumped in a minute later. This makes a lot more sense. He's already 9 supply. We're just going to see the forward pylon.
YongHwa is loving this blatant pylon block. He just does it. He's like, all right, well, I'm not even going to block you first with my probe and then do the pylon. I'm just going to put the pylon down.
I'm such a big fan of this. It just delays everything that YongHwa is going to do usually.
The thing is, he could just use his probe instead of the pylon unless his probe is about to die. In this case, he's going to not only block this, he could kill the drone. This almost happened last game as well. The Korean commentators freaking out about it as well. Last game, he nearly killed the drone, and this is just a repeat situation. He almost kills it again. And now he will kill the probe if the probe's not careful.
Yeah.
But this is very annoying for Leenock. Both games now, his hatchery was significantly delayed. Where now the Nexus goes up. If he sends the Lings across the map to try to punish the Nexus, the map is too far, so he has to send the Lings to the pylon. This is why YongHwa can afford to get his cannon a little bit late.
Yeah, goes in, takes down the pylon, and of course the drone is already there. But he heads over to his third base first, and the probe for YongHwa already retreated. He doesn't even check for a third base. Should have spotted the second drone though.
Yeah, he knows there's going to be a third down. He just knows that he can't block it really because the Lings are already out. He can't even cannon there because a good player, as Leenock is, will check with his Lings, which he goes to do now. YongHwa is a player who has really good builds, I feel like. You know, he's a patient player with good strategies, and I think we're going to see him with a really smart way, a smart attempt to take a third base on this map, probably with Stargate. Not the same type of Stargate play we saw last game, but maybe Phoenix. More like something that we saw against Stefano with flying yesterday.
It's just so popular to go Stargate on this map. We've seen this for weeks, for months, players going into a Stargate with Phoenix trying to control the early pace of the game. With Flying, I was really impressed with all the aggression that Flying put up, especially the placement of his forward pylon that allowed him to warp onto the high ground. It was great, was well played. Don't think we were going to see the same from YongHwa, but I feel that it's going to be a Stargate opening, as you already suggested.
He is going to be feeling great with that scouting information, by the way. The Queen that was walking to the natural was on move command, didn't see the probe, didn't attack him, and now he knows there's no gas in the main, so he's verified at this point that he doesn't need any extra cannons. He can add his tech, and it looks more and more likely Stargate. There it is.
Yeah. As expected, the Stargate opening for YongHwa, and Stargate openings are awesome. You can make sure that your opponent doesn't have any overlords in the vicinity. You hunt them down one by one. You go into the base, try to snipe a queen. That's, of course, the best case scenario. It limits the production of the Zerg player. If you can get a few drones, that's fine too. You force a reaction, you force spore crawlers, you might force a transition that the Zerg player didn't want to go into. But you have to make sure that your Phoenixes survive. If later on there is going to be an infestation pit and infestors, a good chain fungal will take down your Phoenixes, so you have to be very careful because they are still very useful later on in the game, not only in the early stages.
Yeah, it's very true. Phoenix is very great at lifting infestors, and then they're decent against... I mean, they're not decent against corruptors, but they absorb a lot of corruptor fire, force a lot of targeting fire, and they also can do damage to the corruptors like your stalkers can. Yeah. They're always great for a lift here and there as well, so...
Exactly. You go in, if you see your opponent plays with a lot of infestors, you try to flank with the Phoenixes, you lift the infestors, take them out of the battle. You can target down a few corruptors, can also absorb the corruptor fire, allow your the plus side to get a few more shots in there. So the synergy is just amazing, but you have to keep them alive. And there they are, the Phoenixes as the opening for YongHwa. Doesn't try to hide them. builds them, and right away goes into aggression mode, targets down overlords, and shows Leenock, hey, listen up, buddy, I have phoenixes, I started with a Stargate, you better prepare, build spore crawlers, go for transition.
Yeah, he needs to get these evolution chambers up before he can get the spores. He started them now. More phoenixes coming out with the 3 gateways we see here, and the probe that's forward. He could try to do something similar to what we saw Flying do and try to put pressure on that third, and that's exactly what he does. The probe starts the pylon now. This could be really dangerous for Leenock's third because it's so far away from his natural. He doesn't have the creep fully extended just yet.
And if you guys are wondering why he doesn't go right across the map and starts to target down queens because there were no evolution chambers, remember that you showed the first phoenix. He didn't wait for 4 phoenixes. That would have given Leenock the time to start the evolution chamber anyways and to set those structures up. Now we suddenly have all of those units here. Here comes the warp in. +1 is nearly completed. A great timing here for YongHwa.
Yep. He is going in now to the natural, or rather the third base, excuse me. The spines are not ready yet. And anything he wants to send over to the pylon gets picked up. Sending these queens over should be picked up by the phoenixes as well. He doesn't target the spines though, and the spines will finish.
Uh-oh, the one stalker is already gone, and here with the +1 attack upgrade, those Zerglings have a tough time against the zealots, but the spine crawlers are done.
Yeah, the spine crawlers are not really going to have a tough time. He may get the spines, but the spines are here to sacrifice themselves to buy time for Leenock to get these additional lings out, and he will be able to defend this without too much of a loss. Losing the queens is a little bit annoying, but this is not quite what we saw yesterday. This is a much better defense by Leenock.
Yeah, Leenock is playing this much better than Stefano did against his opponent yesterday, against Flying. A lot of Zerglings here lost by Leenock,
Yeah.
but he's trying to go in and take down the pylon.
He will finally get it. And there's cooldown for YongHwa, so he can't warp in anymore. He's getting some drones, meanwhile, at the natural.
Quite a lot, actually. A lot more than I expected. He found a spot where the spore crawler couldn't reach him. Now again, moving in, taking down Harvesters. Really job well done by YongHwa.
Yeah, 5 killed in total with those phoenixes.
Taking a supply lead here. 5 Harvesters killed, and now suddenly those Zealots are running in once again. There are just not any roaches.
Yeah,
he has to
doesn't
rely
have
on the Zerglings, and Zerglings against +1 Zealots.
It's not going to cut it.
Yeah, not at all.
He needs to actually save his queen. The queen dies instantly here. The spines are not going to finish, and Leenock is having a larva problem because of all these lings, the lost queens, and lings are the unit that costs the most larva. He's going to lose the spine. He's actually fighting with his drones right now. The next round of orphans is going to be devastating.
Look at the resources for both of these players. They can't get rid of the resources. This is especially true for Leenock. YongHwa at least is going into additional tech, and he builds an expansion. He starts his armor upgrade, goes into the robotics bay. We have him with so much, and Leenock now not only does he have a lava probe, he's also heavily supply blocked.
Yeah, Leenock is basically dead. He is barely going to push these zealots back, but he's at 32 supply in Overlords.
Yeah.
He's down 20 supply overall. He has to make 7 Overlords at a time that costs a ton of resources, and as they pop out, he's going to go and kill them. He picks up some drones here, can kill his Overlord. It's getting a little bit too far away. Can get the queen, he does.
YongHwa makes me eat my own words. This is definitely not a better defense than what Stefano did against Flying yesterday. Both Zerg players are struggling horribly against this push.
If you skip roaches against this type of play, it's so difficult to actually come out on top because queens dying means you have a larva problem. That's just how it starts. And then if you're making lings only to defend, then it's even worse.
You are missing the injects. You don't have the injects. You want to replace your drones as fast as possible. You're on 3 bases, but as soon as the production is gone, what are you going to do? Leenock is still in a position where he has so many resources, even though he gets +2/+2 armor upgrades and attack upgrades. He's trying to get back into this game, and slowly and steadily with the added queens, he can now finally get his production started again.
If he can make Overlords, that is, because he keeps getting supply blocked by YongHwa. YongHwa has killed yet another Overlord. He's going to get this queen. Getting queens at this point in time it's just a bonus for YongHwa. This usually does not last this long, this type of harassment. We're at the 1325 mark.
God, the resources lost 2,900 for YongHwa and 5,600 for Leenock. YongHwa is on 3 bases now.
Yep.
3 bases for the Protoss, and they are
Leenock's
secure.
resources. He can't spend them because of the problem with his Overlords and his larvae. So now he starts a hive on 3 bases with pathogen glands. He's getting 2/2. He's spending all of his resources on upgrades because there's no way that YongHwa could deny those without actually killing structures.
Exactly. This is not Leenock trying to build a bank that he can use for units later on. This is Leenock just desperately trying to get rid of this resource and putting them to some use. Because right now they are not doing anything. As soon as those Overlords are there, he can finally start producing units again. He has 19 lava cover already saved up, and this is what we're going to see right now. 16 Zerglings going into additional drones, 5 additional overloads because he's afraid of losing them to the Phoenixes.
Yeah, and plus he's supply blocked already.
Again.
This is a big problem. He's getting Neural Parasite, which I really, really like because he has the resource to do it because he hasn't been able to produce very much, but this gives his Infestors the ability to Neural the Colossi, which are basically the hero units of YongHwa right now, which may quite literally kill him at this point if he walks across the map. Leenock is going to need those Colossi in his army to be able to defend.
It is the same problem that Stefano had yesterday against Flying. He was looking at the game, he had Infestors out, but he did not have a Spire, he didn't have Corruptors. Suddenly Flying attacks with Colossi, and Stefano looks at it as like, well, what am I going to do against that? Trying to buy himself time, lost his entire army. Leenock is looking at the picture and is like, well, I cannot really get my Spire out and everything, so let's just go into Neural Parasite so I have at least something against those Colossi.
Yeah, he's getting Banelings as well here.
And he's trying to get into Ultralist against Protoss.
Ultralist against Protoss, we see this in very rare circumstances. You know, the problem is he just doesn't have the resources to make enough Ultras, I feel, to make a difference. He may be able to get 1 or 2 out. In some crazy circumstance, he gets 3.
Great move by Leenock at the bottom left. He busts through the pylons, sends the Zerglings in, and now he could try to execute some pressure at the third, but there are already warp-ins for YongHwa.
Infestors are in the air! And he's going to lose all of them. He can just lift again if he wants to. He's not paying attention.
Yep, he doesn't see it. Here come those Zerglings at the bottom left that I talked about. He's trying to hunt down this third, but here comes YongHwa trying to go for the attack. 5 Ultralists are not there yet. They also don't have the Chitinous Plating, but the third base for YongHwa is most likely going to be killed.
You know, he has so much firepower, he's killing the eggs of the Ultralists. He killed 2 of them. Leenock starts 3 additional ones with all the resources he has, but these are going to be the only resources he has for the rest of the game. A lot of cannons up for YongHwa. He's going to lose his third base, but the Lings aren't going to be able to get to the natural. And the upgrade for Adrenal Glands looks like it will finish, but how significant is that considering that Lings are not really out there anymore?
Banelings, he's trying to go for a few Banelings, but look at this army. Leenock is down 40 supply. The army size is 76 against 112 in YongHwa's favor. The Protoss player is pulling the strings here.
He's picking up the last of the Infestors before they can come in and help out the Ultras. The Colossi doing some AoE. The Stalkers, of course, doing bonus damage to Armored. He will destroy these Ultras. The Lings come in with the Adrenal Glands, but it's too little too late.
GG! YongHwa, great game here on Belcher Vestige. And we have a 1-on-1 situation now in the game. Daybreak is our last map. What a crazy game that we just saw. I love it. YongHwa playing a great style here, doing a very similar build to what we saw yesterday from Flying.
Yeah, you know what we saw against Leenock and also against Stefano is all the cards stacked against them. You have Lings against +1 Zealots. Lings, when you don't have a lot of larva because you're losing Queens, Lings are the most larva-intensive unit in the game. YongHwa has good production. He's got those 4 gateways. He's chrono boosting them. He just keeps going wave after wave after wave. Suddenly, things become a problem.
This is the all-killer. This is the guy that we saw defeat entire teams in the GSL. This is exactly the style that he has to play if he wants to go to Codes. Leenock, I said it before, in my personal opinion, is definitely the favorite in this matchup, but YongHwa has shown us in the past that he can play on such a high level, that he is ready for Codes, that this is just a very tough bracket which he's playing, and I feel if he would face any other player, I would have no doubt that we would see him in Codes next season. Against Leenock, it's not going to be easy, but on Game 2, he has proven that he can do it.
Yep.
And he might. Daybreak is the last map. This is where it counts. Leenock or YongHwa. This map is going to decide who moves to Codes, who has to play in the up and downs. The game is live, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for the final map between Leenock and YongHwa here at the GSL today. We are in the 3rd round. Let's jump into the game. Let's see who advances.